And trust me, it's an absolute banger. It's a game changer.
Mushrooms.
Banger.
Mushrooms.
Procedure,
Mushrooms.
Banger.
lock. This is first what I do.
Vlad the Implier's seen enough. This game is just too good. It's immortal chess. It was Denis Lazavik on the receiving end with the black pieces, and his opponent, the one and only all-powerful Hans Niemann. It was played in the recent Aeroflot Open. Hands with white, and he kicks off with the king pawn, responded to with the c pawn. They're over the board, by the way. Classical time control. We now get the knights developing and the Rossolimo defense on the board. e6 selected, castles. This knight supports its brother, and after Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one, everyone in his chess dog goes a6, but we see b6, bit of a sideline. Now c3 looks for the expansion. a6 does come in this order. The bishop retreats home. Dad's absolutely ashamed. What are you doing back here? d5 takes the centre, and we get the modest response, pawn to d3, offering an exchange of queens if black wants it. Hans loves an endgame these days, but he says no. Denis Lazavik, that is, takes the space, and e5 sets up a huge clamp in the centre. So e5 doesn't allow the BBC. Now we get bishop b7, and after g3, building the banana hammock, we see takes. Very logical to open the eyes of the queen, and this one becomes an absolute stallion in the centre of the board. Queen e2 now played, and this is a key moment. If you play the supernatural bishop e7, well, c4 is annoying, because where's the knight going? You've taken away this square, which would have helped it reroute to f5. Has to come somewhere a bit stinky. You know, if here you run into a3, not ideal. So that's why queen d7 was played, a sort of waiting move. b5 was more accurate. Now we see bishop b2, b5 now played, knight bd2, the game following a logical course. Knight b6 drops back to open the eyes of the bishop, and the queen also looks for knight a4 to pick up this guy, and that's why rook a d1 gives the retreat square. Castles is now played, bishop g2, and now you could leave that knight on b6, right? Bring the rook to the centre, but instead Denis sidelines this one. Let's remember that it's in Siberia now. The bishop drops back. This cannon centralizes, and does Hans go through the center of the board here? Oh no, he doesn't. He plows down with the h pawn, aggressive. Andrea already starts spinning those beats. We love it. Queen c7 now finds that lady on the correct square, and d4 very natural to support the center. We see cd, and now there's a big threat to go pawn d5. I've got to show you this line. You know, what if you go h6, let's say? Very natural move. Well, then there's this awesomeness, opening the power of this long-ranged weapon. Now you can capture this either way. Rook takes, pawn takes, doesn't matter. This is the general idea. I mean, this is a stunning game. After the pawn takes, say you hold on to your material, well, there's different ways to complete the attack, but this is the idea. If the king sidesteps, the queen can come here, where it also targets this. Rook e7 can be a theme. If takes, the queen crashes through. If the rook comes to the g file, if you can visualize all of that, it's a deadly attack. So after c takes on d4, knight b4 best to blockade, but rook d5 selected, and we get a minor pooping of the pants here as Stockfish reacts. Look at the rise of the bar. Now presumably Denis wants to double, gang up on the d4 pawn, but now we get the super aggressive knight fg5 here, and it's Hans who is attacking, breaking through first. h6, surely you retreat that piece. Oh no, this is the moment. Don't moke the bear. He picks up the queen and plonks it on g4. Absolutely aggressive chess. Is it a case of premature attaculation?
Say it.
A premature attack in the game. I think it was just a boring talk.
He prematurely attacked me, but then...
What?
Hans is now offering the piece there, and it's captured by Denis. We see the pawn recapture, looking to mangle the structure. Maybe one day you even use a rook down here. Who knows, right? If you go g6, this is horrible. So instead we see rook fd8. Now g6 comes on the board and queen d7. 19 points of material stacked on this pawn. Plus you defend here. Of course, Hans rips open the king with check. King recaptures, and now how do you keep all of the feces plowing into the attack? It's knight d6 check, and you just cannot live with that absolute octopus. Stoctopus is purring, therefore takes is played, but it's not about this. It's about this. That's how you execute this attack here. Get rid of that central rook, and you can't recapture, or you run straight into this check. Fork town, you lose the lady. So we run back. Instead, the bishop saves itself, hits the rook. Do we see anything like, I don't know, rook moves or whatever? No. Well, this one's saved. Very natural. Going after the king, staying on the light squares here. This bishop takes the rook, and now surely you recapture that bishop. But no. Hans finds this absolutely incredible move, leaving an entire piece hanging still. He plays pawn to d5. I mean, we've not seen a game this beautiful since the gold medal was won by this trio of exceptional pony maneuverers. They took gold in the synchronized pony maneuvering. Beautiful stuff. They trained hard, practiced all year. Absolutely majestic. Now, what's the move here for black? Well, if you try some kamikaze stuff, then you actually help white because the rook can activate like this. So we don't see that. What if you instead try and save that bishop? Well, playable, but then what's the move here? I thought I had these lines prepared. Apparently not. Knight takes back, queen h5 check, the king runs back. Okay, the attack goes on. In a lot of these lines, there's nothing more than perpetual, but there are ideas to keep the game going. We're not going to go too deep because after d5 was played, we see Denis run away with the king, trying to get it to safety. Surely now you recapture one of those pieces. I mean, it just has to be done, right? Or there is a pin here, so let's say you do take the bishop now, but no, we get this queen tiptoeing into the position, still leaving that bishop hanging on e1. Kramnik's seen enough.
Okay, let's do the procedure. Block. This is first what I do.
Now, if you try and save that bishop, this is the line I had prepared, sorry, then this is the general thing. You give the king a bit of a runaround, you do win a piece here. You can't take, by the way, or this, and this, and this, and this, and this. This one's going through, so the queen sacrifices itself. I mean, these lines are nuts, but white emerges better. That's just one sample line after bishop c3. Whoops, not my best arrow. But bishop c3 wasn't played. The bishop wasn't saved. Instead, we see queen f7. Denis queen f7, here we go. Denis just wants to get those ones off the board, try and stave off the attack, but now we get check, king f8, and the rook finally does pick up that one. You're now threatening to take on c6 because there's no more pin here, plus you can rook lift, bro. But what do we see played now by Denis? Still not saving the knight here, was playable, but then you run into d6. This is how the line can go. This sort of thing, taking with check, then the queen stumbles back. Black king still on the run. Apparently it's a level game, but who knows what's going on, right? But no, in this position, we see instead a seahorse spawned, attacking the bishop on e4, saying if you take me, no worries, then I'll take here. I know your head's probably spinning right now. Mine is too. This game's insane. You can't win the second piece, or you crash through with check and mate. So we come back here. If in this position you take like this, it goes like, okay, sorry, this is a mistake. Now you take here and you walk into this. So don't do that. But coming back, what should white do here? Will you actually play the check? This one here, and then okay, you can keep checking and pick up the knight. I mean, these lines are wild, right? My head's spinning. Let's jump back to the actual game. Hans Niemann did not capture on c6 here after knight c5. He played bishop g6 to hit the queen. It slides back here, and surely now you swap off the ladies, you take your piece back and emerge in a roughly level position. But no, this is the moment where Niemann just puts the icing on the cake, and he plays queen h4, some kind of alpha zero-esque bind on the position, checkmating this black queen. It really can't hardly move anywhere, nor can the king. Rook's under fire, but what about after it takes here? black is technically doing well, but this is where the rip-roaring attack comes in. Just bishop c3, so cool and calm. I mean, what an incredible game this is. a5 is apparently best, followed by b4, but knight e7 is played, going for the bishop, understandable. Now we see check, the knight hops out to block, and you might be thinking g4, that sort of thing, but no. Queen h8 launches a counterattack with this bishop. Imagine the rook moving. So instead, we see bishop b4. Great move, keeping the pressure on this one, and the king and Denis just cracks under this relentless pressure here. Queen h8 apparently best once more, but he goes king e7, trying to get the pieces out of the bind in that direction, but now he's run into a tactic. They're low on time, and we see Niemann execute it with bishop takes on c5 check. And the point is, you can't recapture or queen b4 to win the rook. This one covers, but this one intensifies the pressure, and you can't support it anymore. You know, the knight can't get around and help. That one is going to drop off the board. So let's run back. No rook takes on c5. King d7 was instead played. Now we see takes here. Pawn recaptures, takes with check. Don't block with the queen, or you invade with the white queen on f8. What should you do? King c7, and the attack can rage on. You could do this, but actually the strongest move is this beautiful one. If takes, then you go check and you win the rook, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, this didn't happen. King c7 best, but king e8 selected, and it's wandering round. The emperor's got no clothes. We now see bishop d6, rook d4 goes for the counter attack, and rook c1 is a very nice invasion move. But instead we see bishop c5, g6 tries to take the queen, but now you can creep in like this. Rook d7 stops that checkmate which had just been threatened, and after e6 hitting the rook, sliding across to h7, threatening mate in 1, f3 to cover the king, supported by the queen. We see queen g7 to offer the trade. This one drops back looking for more invasion, and after bishop c8, pawn e7, queen f7, this was the final move of an absolutely incredible game. It threatens mate in 1, and you just don't have any way to fight against it. You know, once the king moves out, then the pawn promotes anyway, all that sort of thing. Bishop's loose, as you can imagine, the king's getting mated. This creates mate in 7. It's the way to put up the most defense here, but this is how a sample line could go, and the king's in jail. What an incredible Immortal chess game. I hope you enjoyed it. Smash subscribe if you did, and have a look at the video on screen if you want to see Magnus taking on Hans at the World Blitz Chess Championship just gone in 2024. Thanks a lot, and see you soon.